welcome to this week's Saddle of the Week. I am delighted this week to be at the Side Saddle Nationals where I'm judging, hence the outfit, shall we say. And I'm joined this week by Rob Jenkins, who I work with a lot. I'm really thrilled to have Rob with me here today because he's going to tell us a little bit about one of his latest creations. So Rob, I think I'd actually be quite interested to hear a bit, first of all, about how you got into making saddles, because most of the saddles I talk about tend to be old saddles, but obviously you've revolutionised the world of side saddles, and yes.
Well, side saddles, I mean, I never really set out to be a side saddle maker. I wanted to be a saddler and a harness maker, but just the way everything goes, you end up in a different place. So side saddles kind of chose me, really. I was very lucky to be taught by Richard Godden down in Salisbury. He's ex-champion in Wilton, so it started with him, but I very quickly found that I really wanted to do things a bit differently and come up with my own ideas, my own designs. And that's led us to where we are now, really.
And how long have you been making saddles for, Rob?
Well, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Certainly side saddles, probably the late 90s I started.
And I know we've talked quite a lot that your saddles have very much evolved over a period of time. Should we talk a little bit about one of your current designs
yes.
I've got here, which I'm quite familiar with this one.
This is a current design. Yeah. The main differences from an older saddle are the seat is actually quite a bit wider onto the offside, and that's to help the rider just have a bit more room to get central and get a good seat position. This particular saddle has a bit of extra padding along the top, again just to help with the comfort, and the leaping head is what's known as a houblon head, so it's designed specifically for hunting and jumping.
Turn that round so that we can see that. Do you want to just...
So the houblon head is an extra curve this way, so when you're jumping, if the rider's leg is here, they can actually come forward in the seat without having a narrow edge against their leg.
So I know from you very kindly let me use this on some of my mechanical horse clinics. So I had some complete beginner riders, but also some experienced riders. I also had to go on it myself. And I made the comment at the time, I felt that it made my job almost too easy. Everybody seemed to be getting on and sitting very well on it, which is a real compliment for the saddle.
It is.
Why would you think that is? Is that to do with the balance, with having more towards the side?
I don't know. I mean, I'm very much about finding a comfortable saddle for the horse, first and foremost. But obviously the rider has to be part of that, and the balance and the position of the rider is key to how the horse goes. So I think it's just something I've evolved, and every time I make a saddle I'm trying to incorporate that ethos and trying to find a better way to keep the horse comfortable and the rider balanced.
Yes. So
we just at the moment we just seem to be, you know, getting it right.
And I noticed that, I have the impression at any rate that all of your saddles are built on a Wickham panel, is that right?
I do specialise in that.
Yes.
So Wickham is the general term, but these are much more sophisticated than a traditional Wickham, and they are on a multiple layer of thin felt as opposed to one big chunk of felt. So we can flock into them, and we can add extra shims for adjustment. So again, it's all aimed at making my life easy, really, but it just means that they are much easier to live with, you know, as a saddle.
I know a number of my clients have got these saddles now, and are thrilled with them because they're using them for hunting as well as for showing. And for me, that's a really big advantage of them, that they seem to be very adjustable as the horse changes shape in the course of the year, from maybe hunting weight through to showing weight in the summer. That seems much more straightforward than with your traditional saddle.
Yeah, and the panels are broader, so there's more contact on the horse's back. You know, to try and stay away from any sort of hotspot pressure points and things like that.
And I have to say, one other thing I really love about them, certainly good for my back, they're much lighter
They're a bit lighter,
move around.
So I suppose 12 to 13 kilos would be an average weight for one of my saddles.
Yes.
But I don't know how that compares generally to other saddles.
They seem a lot lighter to me than the average old saddle.
But they are reinforced for jumping, so you know they're strong.
Well, thank you very much for joining us
Thank you.
today at the Side Saddle Championships, and hope everybody's enjoyed this week's Saddle of the Week. Thank you.